Welcome to the VO School podcast, dedicated to the art, craft, and business of voiceover. Each week builds upon the last to give you a comprehensive understanding of a career in VO. My name's Jamie Moffat. I'm a full-time voice talent and audio engineer, and I'll be joined by some of the industry's top professionals on both sides of the microphone to drill down and dig up the truth. This episode is dedicated to my favourite listener, Penelope Alleman. Hello. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. And today is a little bit different to all the other episodes because this is our brand audit episode. And this is a follow-up to the episode with Celia, Siegel and Doug Melville. And the way it's going to work is, in a minute, I introduce you to Celia and our competition winner, Marisa Blake, and we'll talk a little about what Celia can do for Marisa. And then I take a step back, and I'm going to leave it to Celia and Marisa to do the brand audit. And then afterwards, we're going to have a little chat to follow up and deconstruct the process a little bit. Before we get to that, I do want to thank Katie DeGabriel, who is a voiceover talent, and she has her own professional recording studio, and Celia was recording from her space. And actually, Katie is a client of Celia's, and Celia does all of her branding. So I would advise you to check that out. It's katiedegabrielvo.com, and you can see not only Katie's work, but also Celia's. So without further ado, let's have the quick ad, and then we'll start chatting to Celia and Marisa.
The National Zoo. Because sometimes you just need to stroke a llama.
Instagram. Download it and start embarrassing your teenagers today.
Resolve spot and stain. Because the dog's gonna drag his butt on the carpet. He just is.
Engage the droid army with this LEGO Star Wars Republic fighter tank.
Hi, it's J. Michael Collins, and these are just a few examples of the first-class demos my team and I are producing. If you'd like to have something similar, visit jmcvoiceover.com and click on the Demo Production tab to find out more.
All right, so today I am here with Celia Siegel, who is a brand and marketing consultant, and we also have Marisa Blake, who is a voice talent and competition winner. So welcome to you both.
Hello. Glad to be here.
Really excited to be here. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to this one too. This is a follow-up to the marketing and branding episode that we did at the end of last year, and Celia offered a listener a brand audit, so we launched a competition and Marisa won. So congratulations. So let's begin. Celia, what is a brand audit?
So basically, it's when we take a peek at what a talent is putting out into the world. So I hear about Marisa Blake. I should hear her for this project I'm casting. I go to her website. What's my first impression?
Right.
So it's sort of an audit of what it is that you're putting out there with your package right now, and then some suggestions on how to make it more of a concise brand where you can own you in the marketplace.
Great. So Marisa, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, the kind of voice work that you do or the work that you want to do, and why you submitted to this competition?
Absolutely. Well, I'm a voice actor. I'm also an on-camera actor. It's something I did as a young teenager. I grew up in D.C. and used to drive to studios for auditions and that sort of thing. And I just got back into it as an adult for the on-camera stuff and was like, why don't I try to ease my way back into voiceover? And so I've been sort of slowly building my studio space and making connections, and just finished up a really fun project with an e-learning program that's going to be in schools all over the place, really. And so I was able to do a variety of character voices, which is something that I love. And I was also their feedback person, so great job. You answered everything correctly, that sort of stuff. And so I have a degree in elementary ed, so anything child related is really fun for me. And I, like I said, the things that I've been doing for voiceover work, again, has been that e-learning app. I did some stuff for a local Blue Cross Blue Shield office here. Recently did an ad for Kroger. So sort of like a lot of the things I've done have been very, conversational, friendly. Mom. I play a mom on TV a lot right now.
Right, yeah, I can hear that.
I am a mom, so it works.
Yeah. So how long has it been since you had this sort of second wave?
About 3 years.
Right. Okay, cool. All right, well, I think it's time to get started. So I'm going to sit back and sip my coffee while this happens and be a listener for a change, which is going to be fun for me. So
Awesome.
here's a fly-on-the-wall perspective of a brand audit.
Hey, Marisa, it's good to finally meet you. I've been excited to do your brand audit.
Oh, I've been beyond excited. I'm super, super grateful. So thank you. I've stalked you on your website. I've already told you this.
Yes.
So I was really excited to get the email from Jamie.
Oh, yay. Well, good. I'm glad it worked out. So I have not really dug into your website. I haven't read your responses. So I wanted this to be like a real sort of discovery call between the two of us, and just kind of how this would work to do. So first of all, I'm at your website, and I'm going to tell you, as far as the brand audit goes, like what my impression is. So for those listening, it's marisablake.com. And so when I go to your website, it looks professional. I like the black and the green and the white. Your professional photo is lovely, so I, make judgments there. I get a sense of you. One thing I noticed here is you have photos by, and then you link to your photographer. So right here on your homepage, I don't see your demos, so I'm a voiceover buyer, and I'm like, oh, where's the demos? So I'm going to have to look around for them a little bit.
Okay.
But you do not want me clicking on this, oh, look at all these other people, and I'm down this rabbit hole
Okay.
of somebody else's. So I would remove that. You can credit your person, but I wouldn't link to their website.
Okay.
And then we go to the voiceover artist page. So it's taking a second to load where I am. Okay, so I've got it up here. So again, we've got a photo of you, personality driven. You've got your agent representation on there, which is great because that sends that signal of I'm a pro, contact my agent. But what if I want to contact you directly?
I was wondering if that was something that I can put right there also, or contact directly with my information. You think that's a good idea?
You want to make it as easy as possible. This is your tool for being hired. So I would say it depends on what kind of career you're running. If you're only doing union work and you're only running it through your agent, in the old days, you wouldn't even have your information on here. But I would look at how it is you're booking your jobs. And if it's through people contacting you directly, I would put you first and then representation and your agent or agents below.
Okay.
Just make it very easy. You can have contact all over the place.
Okay.
And then I've got your player with your demo. So that's great. I can move right into that. One thing I noticed about your website is I know that you do Spanish voiceover as well. How much of your business is in Spanish?
Not a lot. I get a couple jobs here and there. I do have my Spanish, a little clip of my Spanish underneath the main English demo, but.
So if we were doing a full brand together, we would also do your business plan. And I might ask you some questions out of the business plan just to see, what is it that you want to do? So here's where your career is, here's your dreams and your goals, and then connect the dots. How are we going to get there? How can you use your brand to get the work you want to get? So is working in the Spanish market something that is in your goal set, or is it mainly the English market that you're concentrating on?
I'm more. I would prefer doing things in English, but
Okay.
I'm happy. I mean, I feel like being able to do both is lovely, and I don't mind it at all. Definitely with English, it's the language I speak more often. So
Right.
it just comes easier, and So, but I definitely want to be able to offer the Spanish side of what I do.
So I
as
would
a talent.
say, you just want to have all these reasons for people to say yes to you. And that is sort of a side superpower for you. So if it's something you do want to make sure people know about, it's not on here. I don't see it until this teeny little player Spanish demo.
Okay.
Oh, she speaks Spanish. So that is what I'm going to say about my initial hits on your website. It looks professional. But if you hone in on your brand, you're going to have so much more of a way to talk about yourself and get that, aha, I understand who she is. You want as many clues as possible in there. Okay, so before the recording, we sent Marisa the document I use to work with clients, which is the Brand Finder. And Marisa has been so kind as to let us kind of read through this and get a kind of a focus into her brain. So the thing about branding is the more authentic you can be, the more real, the more truthful, the more interesting your brand is. So that's the good stuff, the bad stuff, the honest stuff. Even that conversation we just had about the Spanish voiceover, like what I'm kind of picking out there is you're not that interested in that. Like it's an aside, it's side dish, so we treat it as side dish in the brand. We would never make that front and center just because you are bilingual. So I'm going to start kind of interviewing you. So I'm kind of reading through this for the first time. And there's about, 15 or so questions on here. And then it's my job to tease out more information. And we start to think about what sets you apart. So earlier when we were speaking during the intro with Jamie, you talked about the elementary ed piece and that being really important in your life, children, anything kid related, so I wrote that down. That's huge. That's where you're living your life. And then you went on to list jobs you've gotten recently. So Blue Cross Blue Shield, that's a nurturing, caretaking brand. Kroger, food, grocery stores, announcer mom, conversational, friendly, all things mom. So I start to be the detective to figure out how to position you, so that mom piece is coming up. So this first question here is what makes you competitive and differentiates you from other talent? And actually, Marisa, why don't you go ahead and answer that live? You talked about work ethic and delivering papers, being the fastest girl in class. I mean, these are such rich things. Do you have the Brand Finder in front of you?
I did pull it up. They're
Good.
really great questions. I had a lot of fun answering them.
Good, I can tell.
And some of them were really hard for me. So do you want me to read what I wrote or just sort of?
Yeah, just
Okay.
tell the story of this.
Okay.
Of what you wrote is so telling.
Okay. So I started off. I'm not sure if these are the things that set me apart, but work ethic is important to me. I had my first job at 9 delivering papers. I worked in restaurants starting at 13. I lied about my age. And I've been in a variety of fields from teaching to insurance to now acting. I love learning new things, having new skills, and I like to be good at my job. That is super important to me. I like to be the best if possible. I once, silly side note, as mentioned, I once was the fastest girl in the class, and that once was really cool. I know I have a deep voice, and that sets me apart. I'm 100% Latina, bilingual, and that also sets me apart. I think I'm pretty funny. My kids may argue. I like to have fun. I'm confident and I'm confident finally in who I am as a person. This is extremely important in the world of acting on camera and behind the mic. But as I mentioned before, I'm always looking to learn more and learn from others. Growth is very exciting to me and also very important.
Okay, so this is so beautiful. So I love it when people really put themselves into these questions because I always say branding yourself's not scary. Like, it's really just pulling out what's already in you. So my number one advice when you're thinking about branding yourself is carrying around a branding journal. That can be Google Docs. It can be an actual journal. And starting to notice these things about yourself. So if I had to brand you professionally just from this paragraph and my short getting to know you this morning, there's so much richness here. So the things that seem like really like quirky and interesting and personality driven about you are this whole, lying about your age at 13 to get the job, delivering papers, that work ethic piece, so I'm going to write down here work ethic, and at first glance you might be like, yeah, but this is voiceover. This is about Marisa's voice. But these days, really 50% of your success in this is going to be kicking butt, as far as your work ethic and being really good at stuff and really good at your computer and your marketing and your home studio. So all of these things about wanting to be the best at stuff and really good at your job, like that's unfolding your personality and that goes in your brand. Like somehow we need to say that about you. We need to let the client know, like, hey, bonus, if you hire Marisa, she's a lifelong learner and kicks butt and is competitive and tries to be the best at everything. That's important. The Latina piece is great. I mean, the picture of the fastest girl in class, like that paints a picture of what kind of person that you are, Like, so you're like this, very like feminine kind of, womanly woman. But, there's a little tomboy in there, like, is she a tree climber? Did she scrape her knees? So kind of that tough girl with the mom, with the teacher, with the warm Blue Cross woman, setting you apart. So we start to pull out all of these things. So yeah, that's what I take from that. So these things are all going to go back into your brand, is we need to either visually or through creative writing, let people know a hint of these things, of why you're set apart from the other moms you're competing with. This next question, well, first of all, before I move on to that, does that feel true? Like, do you feel seen in that, Marisa?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. And your brand, like you should feel very seen. Like you should be like, oh, totally, that's so me. And then you go off to work with that extra bounce to your ounce because you are letting it be very easy for you to be seen. This next question, and some of these questions seem weird when I ask them, but they're all for a reason. Kind of tricking you into saying some things that can work in your brand. It's if you could only audition for one style of copy, what would you want it to be? And I know that's a scary question to ask an actor. But if you want to kind of skim down and pull out, maybe not this whole thing, but what's most salient for you about you vis-a-vis that question?
Yeah, so my first thought to this question was, the first thing I wrote was, ooh, this one made me pause. Just because, of course, having only one thing to choose. But when I first got back into voiceover, I was heart set on animation. And I know that from previous VO School podcasts, people would laugh at that because I think that's pretty common. But I love, I'm a goofball. I love character voices. And so that I think will always be at the top for me somewhere in my dream world. I also put here, although I have this sultry voice, I'm a giant dork. Okay, I already said that. Doing children's books. When I think of doing audiobooks, I don't really, although I love to read and I love listening to audiobooks, I would be really happy doing children's books, again, because I get to use that piece of the voices, the character voices that I like to do, and also tailor to reading a sweet children's story for someone, and being able to incorporate both of those things from my years as a teacher and also as a mom, and also the cartoon fun stuff.
Okay.
And then I put in there though that I'm very comfortable, as you'll hear in my demo, with sort of snuggled up next to the mic, making, what did I say here? Just doing things that are a warmer read. I think my final answer was basically, I'm just happy to be doing this, and
Yes.
I'd be happy in almost anything besides maybe like medical narration. So
Perfect. And knowing what you don't want to do is so great when you're doing your brand also, because we're figuring out what audience that we're mainly talking to through this. And some people are like, medical, I want to do that all day.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's so interesting, because when we just show up 100% with who we are and what we love to do, it starts to intersect in this really beautiful way that you can tell this brand story about yourself. So out of this, because you live in Asheville and you're not living in LA, and all of the reasons why you could have that dream of animation, but you're probably not going to be doing that full time. Mm-hmm. So then we move back into this theme of children, so we're going to put a big star by that again. And I love the visual of being snuggled next to the mic. I mean, that just shows that passion for what you're doing, and that warm and fuzzy piece, and then your kind of raspy voice. And maybe that's a good segue into your demo, so we can let people hear not just your speaking voice, but a bit of your commercial demo. Your voice is so beautiful. It's really, really unique. So it's both your voice and the way you act and your personality. Like all of those things coming together is the product that you're putting out there. So your voice isn't just raspy, or I can't remember which words you're using to describe your lower voice. Like there's sultry, like there's a specialness to it. So I would say, as far as your brand, to think of a hip way that is on trend. Gravelly voices go in and out of popularity, as you know. So when it's not the flavor of the month, you don't want to like lead with that.
Yeah.
But I would love at some point in your brand story for you to talk about, in a really intriguing, lovely way, we're talking to advertising producers and people who love language, so I would want to, like, as if I were to be like creating your full brand, like think of what is that word or that group of words where we really talk about your voice, or use a metaphor that just like brings you home into that lovely quality. So I'm going to just hit play here on your commercial demo, and I might just kind of blaze through it. But just to get a sense. So while I'm creating a brand, I listen over and over to that voice, to just really try to give it its pedestal, and get those right words and feelings going. So, nice job. This is a new demo, isn't it?
It is. I just got it made. J. Michael Collins actually produced it, and I'm really happy with it. Unique, strong, rare, coveted, fierce. You are Levian's inspiration. Levian, designs as unique as the women who wear them. Levian chocolate diamonds, exclusively at Jared.
So here in this spot, you've got that groundedness. So I start writing down words that I feel when listening to the demo. So there's like this confident, grounded loveliness to your voice there that, you can't buy that. Like not everybody has that. So it reminds me of like roots and like staying in one place. And, I think of like a tree growing with a hugging mother's arms in nature.
I love it.
It's really powerful. So in your handy dandy brand journal, when you're thinking about yourself, and you can ask your friends to help you with this, like, what do you think of when you hear my demo? And get 10 people to just talk about the visuals that they see when they're listening to your voice. I'm going to skip to the dove spot.
Armpits are like opinions. We all have them. I use Dove deodorant, so mine are always right. Unlike Cousin Betty.
Hiya, buddy.
Smelly, smelly Betty.
Ow!
Seriously, girl. Water and soap. It's not that hard.
So that's the girl, that's that tomboy piece, from the earlier question, winning the race. You've got sass here, and again, confident. Like you have to have a certain personality to be able to tease Cousin Betty like that without being a jerk. So it's got that, girl with the scraped knee kind of teasing her cousin.
The college experience is different things to different people. If it's your turn and the time is now is the time for Kaiser University. Go to kaisereducation.com today and get the Kaiser Advantage.
And I love it that you have this on your demo because back to your lifelong learner. So your demo is your brand also. So especially when you create a demo with a fabulous producer, you can pick copy that is on brand for you. So far, spot on. And I love it that this smart lifelong learner piece is coming in here. It also has sort of a nurturing, I'm going to tell somebody I care about they should educate themselves. So that's a really lovely piece. So I would come up with words around, smart and educated. And I'd pull out my thesaurus and think about words of, people who love education for education's sake. Almost that professorial, like owning your knowledge as your most prized possession. I can hear that and feel that in this piece.
I'm not your inspiration. I'm not your motivation. I'm not here to tell you how to train, how to fight, how to win. I'm here to win. It's on you, sister. We are not the messengers. We are the message. Nike, the Los Primeros pack.
Again, you're telling your brand story here with these pieces you picked. So I love this Nike spot. Again, leader, taking care of herself. Like, I'm going to just go get my own paper route at 9 and I'm going to be, self-sufficient. And, I still care about you, but I'm going to win the race. That doesn't mean you suck, like it's just got a really great feeling to it. So I would go through and just pull out words of, like, that almost feels like compassionate to me, and it's got the confidence again that keeps coming up in your sound and just in the way that you're communicating with me this morning. So how do you say confident and rooted and grounded and mama bear and fabulous kindergarten teacher, and I'm going to announce your organic produce section. So all of these things are kind of coming together right now and just thinking about you.
Grab it, flip it, pop it, rock it. Pringles, the pop won't stop.
And that Pringles spot is really bright. So it's showing off your sort of perky side, and that you can do that. And for that, I feel it's got a youthfulness to it. There's an energy to it that is not present in this other stuff, that rooted. Like, also in reading these things about you and talking to you and listening to this, I'm seeing like green juice and yoga mats and meditation.
Awesome.
and the Buddha and the right lighting and the right gorgeous fabric. That's kind of pulling down for me, like in just kind of like teasing out your brand for some reason. I wanted green juice in your hand. Maybe to counterbalance the Pringles. Like, she wouldn't eat Pringles. And then last but not least,
use Icy Hot, and it'll feel better before the end of this commercial. Nice and short.
Yeah. Nice and short. So, yeah, that's, again, tough. There's a toughness to that. So I would listen to that 10 more times if I was writing your brand. But you kind of see what I'm doing there. And everybody who listens is going to have different adjectives. So it's really fun if you want to get together with some actors who want to hone in on their branding, have a little, wine and cheese party or a tea party and bring your laptops and just sit and workshop each other's demos and pull out those stories, especially when the demo is so spot on as far as the types of copy that are used. So what do you think of that?
I think that was awesome. I guess it's just nice to, when I got it made, J. Michael did ask me some questions about myself. And so that definitely helped with the selection of scripts. And I, like you said, I thought it was all spot on as well and showed a nice range. So I love all of your words. I loved the rooted, the tree. I'm like, yes. So, those are images that speak to me.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's kind of my brand insanity, that I really, like, I see the world through a brand prism, and I do start to construct it in my head. Like, it's like a fully built website. And I start getting these hits when I start working with somebody. Another one that I kind of was feeling listening to that with the green juice is, like shiny fish scales, like on that kid's book with the, the fish that gives
the
away
rainbow
its
fish.
scale, the rainbow fish. Like, I don't know, like that is like a wallpaper and back, like that, earthy and, sort of spiritual, but, the movement and the independence. I don't know. Okay.
That's cool.
So, what would you like advertising agencies and buyers to know about you or your style?
Well, I put here, and you kind of touched on it a little bit as far as the tomboy piece, I guess, came out when I answered this question. But I just put that I'm down to earth. Again, I don't know that I answered this correctly after we've just talked, but so I'm down to earth. I like to think that I take direction well and that I'm easy to work with. And then as a side note, I'm a musician. I'm a mom of boys. I grew up with brothers. I played sports my whole life and just recently had to stop. And I work with a video production company here in Asheville. I'm the only female on the crew, and I feel like in an entertainment is a male-dominated industry a lot of times. And being someone who grew up and raises boys, I felt like I can connect easily.
Yep, and that totally comes out in your personality. That whole, like, that one of the boys kind of feeling.
I mean, it's how it's how I grew up.
Still being so, like, owning your femininity so much. Like, it makes you really unique. So, definitely that plays a part here. This next question, how would you describe your current image? I ask this question because it then can show kind of the discrepancy of, like, what you're putting out to the public right now and what you think people think about you right now, and bridging that gap to really telling the story.
So as I'm just like skimming through what I said, I think it says the word mom like 48 times. So I just, I mean, my youngest is 5. And so I felt like I just now have spent the last few years refiguring out who I am aside from being a mom. I have 3 boys. 2 of them are stepsons that I've raised for the last 12 years. I'm a musician. I feel like people see that. I'm a dancer. I'm a voice actor and an actor. I had a successful year. I'm just thinking as far as my current image, I had a successful on-camera year in the commercial world. And I'm a wife to a man that I met in a band 12 years ago. And I do a lot of different things. But I think as far as what people see on the outside, at least with friends and whatnot, is that I'm a mom. Or people that don't know me, with Facebook, you have a lot of acquaintances, and so they see that side of it, that I'm a mom and sort of going after some dreams right now.
That's awesome. So all that goes in there, So I just wrote a book called VOICEOVER Achiever.
Yes.
Brand your voiceover career, change your life. And I have a section in there about being in the pack. And so being a mom voice, so you can book Clorox and YoPlay and, Nike and, all of these really great big accounts. But being a mom, if you're authentic, that means so many different things, So are you the edgy mom? Are you the fun mom? Are you the, like, classic perfect home mom? Like, so many layers go into it. So all of those different things that you do, that sets your, quote, mom apart, So that's what your brand is going to be, is this, like, rooted, grounded mom who is a musician, which is a huge asset to voiceover, understanding, lyrical sounds and rhythm. And I mean, that just makes another wonderful layer to all of your voice work. So I want to know that. So there's all these things I want to know. And now the trick is encapsulating that into, a short tagline and then a branded bio and marketing campaigns that give a wink to that, either visually or through bio storytelling. So yeah, I've highlighted all of these things, but do you see how the themes keep coming back?
Yeah.
And then we have here some words that you use: warm, sultry, rich, confident, down to earth, relatable, absolutely. And then I asked this question here: what colors, textures, moods, or metaphors came to mind? So I'll let you do these in your voice.
I'm laughing just reading them over again. But so the question was, what colors, textures, moods, or metaphors come to mind about your voice or image? What your voice, image sounds, feels, or is like. And I said, a quiet, relaxing, warm day on the ocean, drinking a Corona in your white bathing suit, sexy body, and hot man sitting in a chair next to you. Or maybe it's a star-filled sky, again, quiet and intrinsic. I can be your inner voice telling you that you're making the right choice, or that you're on the right track, or that this is all you need. And then I answered, am I answering these right?
I love it. No, that's the thing, is it's all right. Because really, we just need like 10 words,
Yeah.
So I love this visual, So when we use photos for the websites, you can use stock photos. You can do a custom photo shoot, but using images that click people in the mood to be able to, take in your voice and make a positive opinion about you. There might be some magic in there. So yes, you answered those right. And then what you admire in the world is a big clue of what your brand is. So the things that we're attracted to, we're not attracted to them if we don't already own those qualities or we aspire to own them. So there is huge value in talking about, what stores you're attracted to, what brands you're attracted to, what people you're attracted to. It's a really nice shortcut visually, words, ideas, and it also helps show off your best self to you, and looking at them. So I have here this question about what music's fashion stores and what area of the country does your voice feel most comfortable in?
Yes. Actually, my husband answered this one when I asked him, what does my voice, what kind of music is it? And he said, it's classic soul, R&B, blues, something you would hear on vinyl, not that new beep. So I loved that. I was like, ooh, that's good. He has a way with words.
Yeah, I love that. Something you would hear on vinyl. Totally. You would sound great on vinyl.
And then I said, my voice feels sexy in the city, but relaxed on the beach in her second home. My voice loves to travel the world with no definite plan and come back to her home. Maybe in the mountains with a fireplace to chill. She definitely loves to garden, mostly veggies.
Good. We're grounded again. And there's our green juice. I love it.
Yeah.
And then this next section here about what brands do you personally like and why?
So without getting political, I love sneakers, ones that you can change up, different colors and stuff. I was saying that I don't like specific brands anymore because of certain political reasons. But sneakers, I wear sneakers with dresses. I love to whatever, not feel, I love a pair of high heels too, but in general, I'm almost always wearing a pair of, Adidas or K-Swiss or something comfortable that I can, look cute, but also be able to do what I need to do, whatever that may be. I said I don't own any of these clothes, but Carrie Underwood has some workout clothes, and I just love the colors and the styles of it. Again, is just tapping into everything that you're saying. It's all very sort of grounded, very earthy looks, and they're super cute. Mm-hmm. And then I had talked about some websites. I don't know if you want me to get into that sort of drew me in that direction.
Yeah. Go ahead and just a little touch on the sort of the crux of that.
Yeah, so I mentioned that I was stalking Celia a little bit, and so I had clicked through a bunch of websites, and I really, really loved Aisha Nairi's website. It was very fresh and fun, and I felt like I got a sense of who she was. There were so many on there, and also Nicole Balick had a great website. And I also put my random hippie thought was that I love the stone labradorite. Which again pulls into that when you mentioned the fish, the rainbow fish. It's sort of a similar color scheme. So that was something that I was thinking about, as far as branding color-wise, was sort of greens and blues and peacock look kind of. So
cool. And that's so funny because that is what I like saw in you without hearing you say that or looking at this.
I know you're magical.
So yay, I love that. So colors, super, super important for you. So you don't want to forget any of this stuff when you update your website. So there's themes, the specific kind of mom you are, the color, the groundedness, the energy, the compassion, some adjective to talk about your lovely, lovely voice, or the things that are really popping up here over and over again. And then I have you list your credits here, which we kind of talked about at the top of the show. So we won't, just for time, go over those again. I wonder if I should have you read your bio.
Okay.
Yeah, let's read your bio. And we're going to replace this, when you complete your brand with the story that kind of brings in some of these other pieces if they aren't in this. So, yeah, hit it on the bio.
Okay, and I'm not sure the last time I updated it, but it's okay. It says, Marisa brings you a warm, sultry voice that can be anywhere from friendly and conversational to informative and trustworthy to mysterious and seductive and back again. With years of acting experience, Marisa brings the reader with her on a journey. She's bilingual, Spanish-English, and grew up in Honduras, Panama, Illinois, Washington, D.C., and now lives in the beautiful mountains of North Carolina with her husband and 3 boys. She taught elementary school for 5 years and has a passion for children's books. She is a vocalist and percussion player, that's not added in there, who's been singing in bands for over 20 years and has collaborated with Grammy Award-winning Secret Agent 23 Skidoo to create bilingual rap songs for the National Library Association. Marisa is currently working on an e-learning project that will soon be in schools across America. She can be heard doing commercials for Kroger, the Blue Cross Blue Shield store in Asheville, various characters in a recent audiobook, Mixer Man and the Billionaire Parent, and also on screen in various commercials. And then I have my home studio set up.
Perfect. Okay, so you can see kind of after all of the really interesting stuff about you we just talked about, I would say totally scrap this and kind of start from the beginning.
Yeah.
It's just a little too la, 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 la. You think about your audience, we want to pull this smart producer into the wow of your story.
Okay.
So yeah, we could talk all day and really creating the full brand is a really long process, I would have this meeting with you and then go away for a week and create a bunch of options, including a tagline that makes you feel oh, that's so me, and then we write and create visuals from there and then do a bio that just paints that picture of some of these themes that are coming up. All the while, when I'm at your website, I'm looking at this visual piece that reinforces what you look like and what your story is. So yeah, that's kind of the seeds of the beginning of getting into a spot to think about creating a brand that when I see it without your name on it, I still know it's you.
Yeah.
And then using that to educate people about you and your voice and who you are in a way where they can kind of get there faster, they can know you faster. And then make that positive choice to remember you and hopefully audition you and hire you. So yeah, I know we don't have all day. A business plan is super important too. So that's kind of the next layer on this, but we're not going to go there today. But thinking about taking all of this, figuring out who you want to work for and doing a great business and marketing plan towards them. And then your brand should overlap. It should be that little piece in the Venn diagram that is who Marisa is and then what the buyer wants. So what chunk of you do they want? And that's where you really start to grow and cultivate that sweet spot. So yeah, final thoughts for today or for this piece of it, as far as kind of having a sense of where you might be able to go to be more expressive about your brand.
I appreciate you taking the time to look it over, and I do think that it was very helpful to sort of, again, you can write all this stuff down and you can think all these things, but to be able to pick out common themes is really powerful. And I'm just kind of excited to sort of marinate on this and figure out how to move forward so that I'm best marketing myself to continue booking work.
Yay, with your brand spanking new awesome demo. So yeah, that was really fun. And let that just be kind of the beginning.
Yes.
And really think about those things and just allow yourself to like dream and have fun with it, that it's not a chore. It's you being expressive.
Yeah, it's exciting.
So yes, thank you for being our victim and getting
Thank you for the opportunity.
Getting so vulnerable and sharing all that stuff. Really, really neat stuff.
Thank you.
All right, so I think that was extremely interesting. So, Celia, I'd love to know, how long did it take you to craft these questions for the questionnaire?
You know, I've been doing this for a really long time. So, I don't know, like 15 years. I mean, it's like, they're like trick questions kind of, because it tricks the actor into using words to describe themselves. Yeah. So they just sort of came up organically in working with branding people, and they're always changing. Yeah. I'm always like adding new stuff, like that one about where do you like to shop has turned out to be like gold. That's always a good one.
Really? I had no idea that it was going to be so poetic.
Me neither.
I love the words you come up with.
You guys are all poetic in your, what you do, your storytelling and bringing yourself to your work so vulnerably. So it's great to put words to it.
Yeah. I mean, we don't come up with the words. We just read what's written. So it's very impressive. So Marisa, was that what you expected?
It was, yeah. It was helpful to get the, when I had gotten the sort of the branding workbook piece. It was what I expected, and my, as you mentioned, my website and bio, they're just kind of like they're there. It's there and it's serving its purpose, but I was excited to sort of see how to enhance and how do you show somebody, who you are as a person in 30 seconds real quick in this audition,
yeah.
Yes.
And then having, like you said, your website to really represent who you are and not just be sort of like, this is my business, but this is who I am. So
yeah,
it was
totally. Awesome. And then it works for you when you're out going for a run in your colorful sneakers, mm-hmm. your story's out there and can still capture people. So
Celia, what would be the next step if you were to work with a client post having this interview and this questionnaire? So after this questionnaire, I would say, Marisa, go do your business plan really thoroughly, and we'll meet up in 1 week. And then I would put my head together with my team and with my head writer. And we would, keep listening to the demos and kind of combing through that. I might call Marisa and say, ooh, what do you think about this versus this? And really just dialing it down to that essence. And we would write a bunch of different brand options and choices. And we would go over them a week later. And we would work on them until we got to the point where Marisa felt so seen and so proud of her brand and what she was saying about herself, that I joke that I wait till people jump up and down or scream or like, oh, that's it. Yeah.
Nice. I was already almost there. so it's working.
And then we would create the visuals and sort of the creative direction of the website and the marketing campaigns and the collateral material and sort of oversee that happening and then move into the marketing phase.
Great. And Celia, you've got a new book out, so why don't you tell us a little about that?
I do. I'm actually holding the proof copy, the only copy right now. And it's all green lighted, and it's going to be launching next Tuesday. It will be available on Amazon, and it's VoiceOver Achiever, Brand Your VoiceOver Career, Change Your Life. Because I believe that when you get authentic enough to really brand yourself well, it really makes everything come together more because you're showing up really as yourself. And in the book, I go through the whole process of how we do this. So it's a how-to book, complete with a brand journal in the back, and steps to go through to brand yourself. So yes, I hope it's a really big help to everybody out there seeking to take their voiceover branding up to the next level.
All right. Fantastic. Sounds great. I'm definitely going to get a copy.
Yes.
So thank you to both of you. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I just want to thank you both again for letting me be a part of this, be your guinea pig. I didn't mind it at all.
Well, good. Well, yeah, thank you both for Jamie having us on the show and Marisa for opening yourself up as our guinea pig. That was a whole lot of fun. So, yeah.
Great. Thanks so much.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you to this week's guests, to our sponsor J. Michael Collins and Backstage Magazine. Thanks also to Kyle Marie Colucci and Chris Sharps for social media support. Join us next time for another class.